It's the Morning Scramble on Z102.9. Cedar Rapids has an election coming up on Tuesday, November the 2nd, although you can vote early as of now. And we're taking our time to meet all four candidates running for mayor. And at the microphone is candidate Myra, Colby, Bradwell. Welcome to our Q&A session.
It's great to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Why don't we start with you telling us a little bit about yourself and why you're running for mayor?
Well, I've lived in Cedar Rapids since I was 9. I consider myself Cedar Rapidian, and I taught Taekwondo. I worked at the same company for 46 years, and I went and educated myself, and a lot of things I've done, most people can never say they've done. I did Taekwondo demonstration for Arnold Schwarzenegger and Chuck Norris. In 1993, I was inducted to the World Martial Arts Hall of Fame as instructor of the year. And I've always been kind of a fighter, and I've been pretty upset with the court system. That's kind of what got me all involved with this. And that's what kind of got me running for office. As you know, I've run for other things. I was actually candidate for governor in the state of Iowa, and on into senator and mayor, and I thought I actually had it won last time, but I still got 36% of the vote, so that's a pretty good showing.
Let's talk about the role of mayor. For those who are watching today that may not quite understand how Cedar Rapids city government operates, what does the mayor of Cedar Rapids actually do? What's the job description?
Pretty nothing.
Okay.
I mean, that's just pretty much it. Because we have a city manager, and I had friends that were involved when they changed that city form of government, and they will tell you today it was a mistake. And I truly think we need to get rid of the city manager and get rid of that $2 million elephant we have on our back, and the mayor needs to go to being a full-time mayor, as back in the days of like Don Caney and stuff like that. And then we didn't need, the councilman stepping up, but I don't really see what he does a lot he kind of takes the blunt of a lot of things, which I don't envy him for, but the manager is the one that really pulls all the strings.
So what's your vision for Cedar Rapids? What do you want for the future of the city?
Well, first off, I'm going to tell you, the first thing I want to see is more respect. I mean, our society in general, but Cedar Rapids has declined. I mean, an example, you're on a highway, you back up, let somebody pull in there. You think they wave to you? I'll bet like 2 out of 100 will actually wave and say thank you. Now, if I go to Jones County, no, people wave and say, hey, thanks, and go to Branson, the highways are friendly. Here, people aren't friendly, and they just kind of, expect it. But I'd like to see more respect for each other. As far as this, we need growth. We need jobs and more jobs and more jobs. And not just another bar and another restaurant. We need too, and I think those people do a great job. But if you go through downtown, there's a lot of vacancies down there. And we got to fill them in.
As we are either getting people to the polls now, because people can vote early, or you go on Election Day, which is coming up on Tuesday, November the 2nd, they're going to see 4 names on the ballot, and we've had time to kind of understand your vision. We still have plenty of time still as we're talking. Why should people consider Myra as the candidate of choice for mayor for Cedar Rapids?
Well, they shouldn't. I don't think anybody should vote. I mean, if you vote, you're going to screw everything up, because of the politicians that they really count on 70% of the people not voting. And I've lobbied at the State House for bills and stuff like that, and it's kind of when I became an independent, year 2000. But I had a legislator tell me that non-voters are non-entities. I'll never forget it. They're non-entities. But he's got a point, because they don't voice themselves. And, and they've been beaten down. I understand it. My vote doesn't matter. I've heard that so much time. And truthfully is, if there's a guy that's a gazillionaire here, and there's one guy, picking up your trash, guess what? The equalizer is their vote, and they don't use it. So, but if everybody started voting, you would just screw the whole system up. That's how I feel about it.
So are you advocating for people then not to vote on November 2nd? What's your actual thoughts?
Listen, I think they should vote, but most of them don't. And I want to try to tell them, if you're not voting, don't worry about it. The government will do it for you. And I've told people that. And when I ran for governor, I was in Davenport, and I was spoken. There were 2 young ladies that said, well, we don't even vote. And I said, if you don't walk away from here understanding anything, I want you to understand one thing. You voted. You just chose to let government do it for you. So if you hate government so much, you want to bitch and complain, why do you just let them have free run of it? But they do. People don't vote. They got something to do that day or whatever. And it'd be great if we had 100% participation in voting, because And this is a true story. I was in Costa Rica with my daughter, and I was talking to a couple, and on the beach there was an older lady that heard me, and I was talking about how a lot of people in this country don't vote. And I'll never forget it. She come over, tapped me on the arm, she said, Senor, people in your country don't vote? And I said, oh yeah, a great number of it. That lady started crying. She couldn't believe that we had that right and give it up. And the real Myra Bradwell fought for the women to have that right to vote. And you know how many women don't vote? A great number of them. They're too busy.
If you were to focus your first 100 days, what would you like to see? What kind of change would you like to see in Cedar Rapids?
Well, I think the mayor needs to take a stronger role. There's just no doubt about that. I think the city manager is a lot of money we're spending, you know, and for me, if I become mayor, I'm going to advocate for a full-time position and then have a stronger role in this, along with the city council. And listen, it's no one person that's going to make this city better. It's going to take everybody, and that's the citizens too. But I'd like to see us kind of develop more jobs. One person came to me and had a great idea. You know, one of the things I really, my heart goes out for is a lot of the homeless. And we actually probably had about 40% of our signatures actually came from downtown, the homeless and low-income people. I mean, if low-income people and middle-class people voted, we could control this country, you know, but they don't. But I was really taken back. A lot of these people signed my petition. Well, this guy had an idea. So why don't we start a tiny home business and have these people help build these homes, and then they could take ownership of them and have a place to live. Great idea. I mean, and we should have been doing that with Cooper's Mill. Now the city of Cedar Rapids spends $5 million for a hotel, tears it down, spends another $5 million tearing it down, and now it's a $10 million parking lot. That does not even make any kind of sense, and you don't even have to have an education to understand that.
Myra, we have hit our time. According to the cameraman who's our timekeeper, we appreciate you spending some time with us
Okay,
today.
Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity to speak, and don't vote.